Hello and welcome to Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host, LaserKid, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Hello, I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
You've been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from friend of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description.
And this episode is not sponsored, because this is real and they're not giving us any money, but this episode we are shouting out WBPL 76. More about them at the end.
Ooh. Good old Black Pants Legion. We've shouted them out before, but we're going deeper in.
Yeah, we'll talk more about this at the end, but... Alright.
Alright, well, we got a little bit of news before we get into our fun little topic here. But the first piece of news is the Dragon Ball Daima English dub is actually finishing on May 16th. That is really close to when we're recording this. It's a couple of days away. Episode 19 and 20 are released back to back. That's pretty cool. And we have an episode lined up. I don't want to say too much yet, but we have a plan for Dragon Ball Daima. You better believe we're doing an episode. It's May. But yeah, I can't believe the dub's almost done already, though. Holy cow! It's a good show.
Indeed.
Speaking of good shows, HIDIVE has, the news article since they've revealed the cast for the simulcast dub of the 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. But the episode's actually out. Came out on May 7th. That's in the past, even as we record this. And we watched it. The description reads, Okumura, the otaku president of his school's manga club, has absolutely no interest in real girls and prefers sexy, fictional 2D manga characters, like Liliel. However, when the new school year begins, he discovers the club has a new member, Ririsa. She not only has a passion for cosplay, but considers Liliel her favorite character. They quickly bond when Ririsa convinces Okumura to be her photographer. The line between 2D and 3D blur. It's silly. Okumura is voiced by the man, the myth, the legend, Jack Stansbury. That's Aqua and Oshinoko. And Ririsa is voiced by Shania Moore. That's Sayaka in Bloom Into You.
Okay, and yeah, this is not just a not porn show. There appears to be some genuine heart and writing to this, so check it out, see if it's for you.
It had a surprise. I expected this to be something we watch one and be done, but It has a lot more restraint than I expected based on the title. I'm impressed
visually,
so far.
He means
yes, visually. I mean,
yeah. So I'd be probably, if it was just me, I'd probably be like, oh, that's cute, move on. But LK seems really into it, and I'm fairly sure Dragon will love it. So we're going to be watching this.
I like that they're doing something interesting with the characters. They're actual real people. And the fact that they are not taking shots they easily could be tells me that there's some that this is about the story, not the boobies.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's plenty of sex appeal, but it all makes sense.
There is plenty of sex appeal, but it's not. There were plenty of chances for them to go even further than they did, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that, because we've had to drop several HIDIVE shows recently because they've been not doing that.
Yeah.
So, nice to see. And that is our news.
All right,
well,
so on to today's topic.
Yes. Definitely our favorite for the season so far. At least I think so.
I'd say that's safe.
It's the Unaware Atelier Meister. This show is so stupid, it's beautiful. This show focuses on the adventures of Kurt Rock-Ons. That's voiced by Ciaran Strange. That's the Black Knight in the wrong way to use healing magic. And Mithril Ridpod and Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Happy day when I can mention Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Kurt is this wide-eyed, innocent guy who's from a town in the mountains. We don't know much about that town in the mountains, but He believes that he's kind of this little nothing guy, and he's been helping out this party called the Flaming Dragon Fang that found him there. That party is headed by a brute of a man named Golnova, voiced by Christian Thorson. He's not exactly a newcomer. He's got plenty of additional roles on his list, going quite a ways back, but he's new to major roles. He's Z in Fist of the North Star, Legend of Kenshiro, and Cleone in One Piece.
Is this a guy who, whether he's going to turn out to be a major character again? Probably, but we don't know yet. So this starts out with the by now classic trope of the key member of the party being unappreciated, in this case being thrown out. Because Kurt is absolutely clueless as to how he's being abused.
Yeah.
Kurt, I would call Kurt a saint, except I'm pretty sure he has brain damage. In some respects.
I don't think he has brain damage, but he is a people pleaser to an extreme degree. And I think wherever he's from I think he's in the middle of great culture shock. Because where he's from, the standards are so high, clearly, that he just doesn't see things the way normal people do.
Right. So there's also a trope that's lesser used, but like I've said this before, that I was not impressed with the light novel, and apparently there's an anime as well, but there was a story where some random villager from the village next to the final boss lair moves to the starter town and is completely overpowered.
I actually watched quite a bit of that anime. Interesting idea, not great execution. This is kind of like the better version of that.
Right. And there's also, I'll expand on this later, but it reminds me a hell of a lot, in a weird sort of way, of my instant death ability is overpowered, and I'll explain what I mean.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison I wouldn't have made, but I mean, you got a thought, so cool.
Yeah. Just don't let me. The reason I'm mentioning it now is so can help my squirrel brain remember a little bit.
Well, you're expecting this squirrel to remember your squirrel brain shit. Good luck, but I'll try.
I'll take whatever help I can get.
But yeah, Golnova's kind of a piece of shit. I'm just gonna straight up say it.
He's the classic evil party leader.
Yeah, he's brutish. He kicks out Kurt because he considers him useless. Gets himself arrested because he's causing problems in places. Just like, dude, get help.
Yeah, no, this is a guy who needs to be dragged out back and have the ever-loving shit beaten out of him.
Agreed. I don't know that I want to get him killed, but beat the shit out of him?
No. Yeah, for didactic purposes. Getting your ass kicked can really clarify things. Ask me how I know.
Well, the other two members of that party both are considerably more interesting. One of whom is Bandana, voiced by Leah Morgan. That's Genabia Fleisha in Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. And Yuya Yamamoto in My Clueless First Friend. Bandana is sketchy as hell. As soon as the party starts falling, she's like, yep, I'm out.
Neutral evil.
I'm not sure what her deal is.
She out for herself, first, last, and always, and that's as far as it goes.
And yet she pushed Kurt to go meet with the Atelier where he would end up curing the princess. I don't know what she's doing. She's clearly manipulating things, but to what end, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out, I imagine.
It's not all bad, but it's not all good. I don't know what her deal is. She's clandestine as hell, though. She also, jumping ahead a little bit, warns one of our party members, Donzo, about a betrayal in a work relationship, and that saves that whole group. So, again, what's your deal, Bandana? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. We still got 6 episodes to go. This is the halfway mark in our story here, where we're covering. But yeah, something's up with Bandana. And then there's Marlfist, voiced by Katie Otten. That's Charlotte Galark in Spirit Chronicles. That's also Toka's aunt in Failure Frame. Marlfist... Oh, God, where do I... She at first is incredibly hateable. She's this self-righteous priestess who just, is very, very,
apparently,
very
the church in this world has very low moral standards, which we come to find out is in fact the case.
Yes,
and yeah, just
and
smug,
yet,
self-assured, righteous, while being not right in any way, shape, or form.
right. Although I think the ordeal she goes through, I can see that she's changing.
She's totally turning around, but that's for later.
Yes, that's for later. But then I'm just kind of like kind of making my own little observations as we go here. She's interesting, but but she is totally with Goldova's like, yeah, get that kid out of here, yeah, whatever. The only one that seems to recognize anything about Kurt is Bandana. The other two just don't seem to recognize anything about him. And as soon as he leaves, that part
about anything, honestly.
Yeah. Well, Kurt gets out of that abusive relationship, and the start of the story, I thought it was going to be yet another "I love my party" stories, but that like barely figures into anything. Honestly, it is a part of it, but it's more.
I wouldn't be surprised if Golnova comes around to get his ass kicked again, but
sure,
because I think we've lost track of him, but yeah, Marlefist certainly becomes relevant again.
She does. But immediately, Kurt ends up going for some work. He goes visit a clerk at the Hello Workstation Employment Agency in the city of Samara. I love that name of that. Hello Work. I think that's a hilarious name for a job placement agency. That's great. It's very and believable in its own way, actually.
Oh yeah. But it sounds like it sounds like a real Japanese employment agency.
It does. And he meets a staff member there, Kerschel, voiced by Allison Schoenhoff. Appears to be a newcomer. Did initial voices years ago in a certain scientific railgun and Shotgun no Shawn II, but hasn't really done anything too much. Also, this is the one where I wasn't able to find the picture of the voice actress, so I made this fun little picture to be like, I don't know who this is, but she does a good job. Would love to see more of her. Mm-hmm. And she actually does a couple of things. There's no one there to specifically test him. The person that does that's not around right now. She does some basic, testing.
It's your standard fantasy quantifying your skills type of thing.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of generic Japanese fantasy stuff going on here. Like it's I say Japanese fantasy. It's Western fantasy with a Japanese lens.
Yeah, it's this is very soft fantasy in the sense of the mechanics and so forth. Don't worry about it is basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, she does manage to realize there's something up with him because she asks him to help him move something, or maybe he offers. I can't remember which way that goes, but he does. But he's like, "Oh, these are so heavy." And she picks them up and they're light, and she later realizes as he's gone on his first job.
Finds out, yeah.
Oh, those are heavier the more magic you have. Oh. She actually sends him to go help with repairing some battlements, where he meets a foreman who becomes important later on, because that foreman is not just some random foreman, he's actually General Allraid, voiced by Mike Smith. That's Sion LeBlanc himself in Bye Bye Earth. And Sarius Zanel in Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witcher Mercury.
Yeah, so he's like the local magistrate / military commander, essentially.
They have a magistrate. They actually comment on that, like at the very, very end of the episodes we've seen, where it's like, well, someone else is kind of doing that, but I mean, he's kind of he's a man of many roles.
Yeah, so basically this town is basically on the edge of the wilderness, if I recall correctly, and so it's essentially operates under military authority because it's under threat. If I'm remembering correctly,
that it doesn't directly state that, but I think you're right.
Yeah, this is me reading between the lines.
It is you reading between the lines, but for once, I actually agree. I think that is the likely situation. But poor Allred doesn't know what to do with Kurt, because Kurt is just like this overachiever working his buff, and he's just like, you just did work for like
impossible. He finished 2 of the walls in as many days. if I recall correctly.
Something like that.
Well,
Which is just
Allred basically
insane.
gives him a shitload of money and says, "Look, get out of here. Good work, but get out of here," because he explains to Kurt, he says, part of the reason for this is not just to rebuild the walls, although we certainly need that. It's also to provide employment. And he's basically, if you keep doing everything, no one else is going to be able to earn money. You're too good. Although Kurt, that bit kind of passes by Kurt's head.
I actually feel like it was a good explanation, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, it was perfectly reasonable for somebody who's not emotionally damaged. But
of course, Kurt takes it as, "Oh, I didn't do a good enough job." Oh, Kurt,
it's
you
very
lovable snow. This
funny.
guy.
Because part of the reason why, and I might as well explain it now, part of the reason why this reminds me of my instant death abilities Overpowered is there is all sorts of gears within gears and wheels within wheels. There is a plot going on with all this grand big plot. And Kurt is just kind of wandering through it, blowing holes in everything and not realizing what's going on. And that's why it reminds me of my instant death ability is Overpowered, because in that show, things that would have been whole story arcs in other shows are just preempted in a 2-minute scenes where it's like, die now. And that's the point of the show, is lampshading. This is lampshading a lot of the tropes of the genre and doing so very funny. Because they basically, you could just as well retitle this show "What the Hell, Kurt," and it would be equally actually more accurate.
What did you do, Kurt?
Yeah, what'd you do now?
Well, Kurt comes back to the workstation. Goes, "Oh, I don't know what to do. That didn't quite work out," and comes across someone who needs his help. This girl named Elisha, voiced by Erin Nicole Lundquist. That's Sachan in No Longer Allowed in Another World, and Pyron in The Apothecary Diaries. Elisha is trying to get enough money out of the mine she's picked up to pay the mountain bank back, because she kind of put her inheritance into that. And if she doesn't produce, she's going to lose it. She needs help, and there's not exactly a whole lot of people around, but there's Kurt.
Yeah, it's one of these things where she's got an asset, but she needs money to exploit it, but she doesn't have the money, and without that money, she's going to lose the asset. It's very much a catch-22.
Yeah.
But in comes a one-man surveying and mining crew named Kurt, who gets more out of the site than any 200 experts in the kingdom could have in a couple days.
I'm just gonna throw this away. It's useless. It's freaking mithril. Oh, we know it's useless.
Like, that stuff's so common. What are you gonna do with it? And Elisha is like, mithril exists.
Yeah. This is real?
This is not a serious show, folks. This is what I said earlier about, the whole, how does the magic work and this, that, and the other. The answer is don't worry about it, because that's not the point at all. It is not the point. The point is, this is very much a lampshading of all these other shows, and but it's also very good and entertaining in its own right, as any good parody should be.
Indeed. Well, that leads Elisha to be completely gobsmacked. She's like, all right. I'm going to go sell all this here, and I'll get you your share, because, you went nuts here. And she goes away and meets with her friend, Mimiko, voiced by Sarah Wyneft. That's Suika in Dr. Stone, and Power in Chainsaw Man. But Mimiko is a high-ranking royal court magician and the owner of Mimiko Cafe in the royal capital, and she is shocked at what Elisha has brought her. And she's like, yeah, no, you need to bring this guy to me, because we need to get this guy turn him into an Atelier Meister, because this guy is insane.
Yeah, so in this world, so an atelier, if you're not familiar with the word, which I actually wasn't, although the funny thing is, I just came across it. I finally got around to starting to read Frederick Forsyth's novel, The Fourth Protocol, and it was used just randomly in the novel. It's like the first time I've ever seen it in print. But anyway, an atelier is a workshop, if you, which I didn't know. And so in this world, Atelier Meisters, yeah, I looked it up.
Head of the workshop, that makes sense. What this show reminds me of, since we kind of made some comparisons, this show reminds me of possibly the greatest alchemist of all time in terms of tone.
Right. But it's very silly. That's more of just like a pulpy story. This is very much a parody. In a good way.
Wouldn't go so far as to call this a parody, but it's dancing on that line for sure.
Yeah. So the specific definition for an atelier or atelier is a workshop or studio, especially for an artist or designer. So basically, in this case, it's magical craftsmen. There's a very small pool of people who can do this sort of high-level work, and it's very much like a master swordsmith or something like that. They maintain workshops, and they have apprentices, and that sort of thing.
So, yeah, basically,
7 of them in the kingdom, I want to say.
They have a couple of them, yeah. I mean, Mimiko is one.
There's a few, but there's not many.
We see 2 others in this burst of episodes we're talking about.
Right.
Mimiko
I forget the
and
number.
Ophelia
they actually say
later.
the number. It's less than 10, I seem to remember.
I don't remember the number. I do remember them mentioning it. My squirrel brain doesn't remember. I'm sorry, Ark.
But the point is, Kurt is He's very precious resource.
Yes, and Mimiko it's not like they want to enslave him to the government. It's more like we need to protect him from outside influences that could, do him wrong. Because he's not exactly smart. As you can see evidenced by the party that used him, he's not exactly a great judge of when he's being used and when he's being treated fairly.
Right. One other thing I should mention, it becomes clear that Kurt is... when he finally gets assessed, which is that happened yet, or almost?
That's not yet, but it will be Mimiko that does it.
But it seems to be that he actually bleeds off. It acts as like
he's a mana battery. He charges up people around him.
So what's funny is his party. You come to realize, we see as after they've ditched him, is they're having trouble with stuff that they would have breezed through earlier, and it turns out that nobody realized it, but they were made better just by having Kurt around. So
I believe there was another show like that recently where that was the case, but I can't remember which one it was. We talked about it.
I don't recall.
I specifically remember at that point making a reference to Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, because there's a character in there that's like that. But
I remember you saying that. I don't remember any of the bad party.
I don't know if it's bad party number ones or not, but
element. Yeah,
I remember us dealing with a
specific combination of 3. Yeah, mana batteries are nothing new. I don't recall it in conjunction with the bad party.
I'm not saying it was or wasn't. I thought it might be, but I don't know. But we definitely talked about one recently, and my brain is just.
I do remember you mentioning Bleach. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. There's a particular character in Bleach that this is totally who they are. Although in that case, it's a villain. But anyway, Kurt runs into Bandana again, who guides him to go take work from a local atelier, who is Ophelia. And in so doing, he meets basically her receptionist or assistant, Michelle Lalakota, a cute little elf girl, voiced by Lizette Monique Diaz. That's Graham Gretcher in Spy Family, and Anna in Once Upon a Witch's Death. Michelle's this cute girl. She's like, oh yeah, we need you to clean this kitchen. We all know this is Kurt at this point. We all know exactly where this is going. Not only is that kitchen going to be spotless, he starts cooking out of it, and his cooking is incredible. And he hears someone in the back. I think is she coughing, or I can't remember exactly.
I forget, but basically he sees someone in at least minor distress.
And he goes and checks on her. And this is Liselotte Homeros, voiced by Hayden Daviau. That's Ibarra Ichijo and Ayaka. It's another Ayaka reference I get to make recently. And Atsushi Nagato in Windbreaker Season 2. It's the kid they rescued like early on in Season 2. Liselotte is, well, she's being cared after by the Atelier Meister, Ophelia, because she's got a curse
Seems
on
to
her.
be something of a resident patient, yes.
Yes. She's got a curse on her. She's being watched after. They're trying to cure her, trying to take care of her.
Mhm.
Kurt offers her the food he's cooked because
Yeah,
Kurt
yes.
is a nice little snowflake. And not only is it really good food, it cures the curse.
Yeah, the unbreakable curse that this Atelier Meister have been struggling with. Because remember, Atelier Meisters don't, if we didn't make it clear, they don't just make things, they are high-level magicians.
Yes.
Multidisciplinary sort of thing.
So Ophelia does catch wind of the meeting and actually kind of gets Kurt out of there because being very protective
she doesn't realize what's just happened, and she doesn't want anyone anywhere near Miss Liselotte.
Yes.
For reasons that we will explain.
Yes. She kind of shoos Kurt out, but she's thankful for the cleaning and for the food. She kind of chases him out. Ophelia is voiced by Madeline Norton. That's Isha in No Longer Allowed in Another World, and Gremory in An Archdemon's Dilemma, How to Love Your Elf Bride.
It's a lot of crossover with No Longer Allowed.
Indeed. Between that, I see that a lot, and I'm seeing a decent amount of other fun stuff too. Yeah, Ophelia gets him out of there, and she talks to Liselotte, and Liselotte is actually the princess of the kingdom, and that's why she's under her protection. It's like, yeah, you gotta. Right? Third princess, yes. And she's actually really important because she is also the daughter of a neighboring empire. If she were to die, that would mean war. Her being alive ensures peace between the kingdom and the empire. Her being dead, that would be bad.
Which is, of course, why she was targeted.
Of course.
We can't have nice things.
Well, as we find out later, the people targeting her are bad people.
Mm-hmm.
So, eventually she figures out, oh, this food is really good. Oh, this food cured you, what? And so then those searches, okay, I need to go get help. She actually meets up with Mimiko, trying to figure out what's going on. But while she's doing that, Kurt is longing to look for another job, and he just happens to come across a party of adventurers who are missing their normal fourth, who's a carrying person for them. And Kurt offers to help. They kind of like doubt him at first. They're like, yeah, sure, kid. But he proves he can carry quite a bit.
Kurt's tiny. Kurt, if he was, he is almost but not quite femboy looking.
Oh yes, reminds me of the Seventh Prince.
Very much so, yes. Although older than that.
Older than that and a little less twinkish.
Yeah, a little bit, but he's still pretty twinkish, at least in his build and stuff. Not in his, not the way he acts.
I said Kurt
is not girly, but he's built very slight.
Oh, this party consists of 3 members who, once Kurt quickly proves himself, are like, yeah, come aboard. One of which is Adonzo, voiced by the legendary Ian Sinclair. That's, of course, Space Dandy Space Dandy. And for Arc, that's Vital Velvet Velsvault in Demon Lord 2099. And for me, it's Brooke Space Dandy. Huh?
You've shown me some Space Dandy.
Did I?
A dandy man in space.
He is a dandy man. I thought that was on my list of things I hadn't gotten around to.
Yeah, you showed me like 2 episodes, and I do want to see more. Because that is so fucking stupid.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I need to get some alcohol in the house first. But,
well, maybe it's time you're down here. And then, of course, what's interesting about Donzo is that he is a samurai. He is a warrior from the East, of course.
Yeah, he is literally just a samurai trope.
He is, but it's cute. He's also the leader of the Sakura party, which is the name of the party is Sakura. There's also Cons, voiced by Mauricio Ortiz Segura, that's the grocer in Dead Mount Deathplay, and Giulio Gandini in My Hero Academia. You're Next. That's the most recent movie for Hero Academia.
Okay.
And of course, the last member is actually his younger sister, Sina, voiced by Kelly Greenshield. That's Nene. I cannot pronounce that. It's the cat girl in Schofendel. Thank you. In the I Love My A-Rank party to help my former students reach their dungeon depths. And Yoriko Kikujoji in Oshinoko. That's the mangaka who wrote Sweet Today. Sina is kind of the fiery, passionate character of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And Kurt joins them, and they go off on their adventure. And their adventure goes off into a dungeon where they're fighting goblins. They are getting overrun, though. Kurt and Sina find their way into a secret passage. Cons and Donzo kind of like, yeah, go in there. We're gonna fight off the hordes while you get out through there. I don't know why they didn't.
It's literally let's get the innocent kid and the youngest of us out, because
I get. Better, I mean, if there was no other option, I totally get it.
Well, they didn't think there was.
Well, I mean, they could all have gone through the secret passage. Not like the goblins are going to go, oh, there's a secret passage here.
Yeah, you're right. That was kind of stupid, but whatever.
It was kind of dumb, but I mean, it's very commendable.
I'm assuming something was lost in the translation.
It's a possibility. It was a commendable instinct, but I feel like it was unnecessary. But anyway, Kurt and Sina are like, all right, well, let's go. Oh, we're in trouble. That's a giant golem barring our path. Well, Eulishia is, while this is going on, Eulishia actually runs into Mimiko and Ophelia's meeting and realizes they're talking about Kurt. And while they're talking, Mimiko suggests that the suspects behind Lieselote's curse are General Sanova, Riskatz, Bishop Trishan Mainoff, and Queen Isadora, the king's third wife. To draw out the culprit, Ophelia decides to open a fictional atelier and have Lieselote work there undercover. And based on who we've just found out as the person who cured her, Kurt is selected as to be the totally fictional, except for not Atelier Meister. He's official to everyone but himself.
They don't even try to persuade him to be the Meister. They're just like, the Meister's coming, you're going to help us set up, and then you're going to work here.
Yep, well, Eulicia's tried to find Kurt, but she can't find him. And it's freaking Bandana, who's like, oh yeah, I saw Kurt, he went towards this place, and then just disappears. Okay, what are you doing, Bandana? What is your deal? What are you trying to do? Oh, God, but she goes to go rescue him, but it turns out nobody needed much rescue. She rescues the Cons and Donzo. They needed the help. And, she helped. Kurt and Sina, it turns out, were perfectly fine because Kurt sees Golem and goes, oh, I can mine that. And he did.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he literally mined his...
it's just materials,
It's so freaking funny.
Oh, yeah, totally. Because it's been established, Kurt, but by everyone's account, including his own, Kurt has absolutely no aptitude for combat whatsoever. I think we forgot to mention that. This is very much borne out by everything.
Indeed. Well, this is about the point we meet another member of the church, Bishop Tristan, who, as mentioned, is one of the suspects in the people who could have cursed the princess.
This character design, it reminds me. I'll try to find you a picture, LK. But if anyone else has watched a lot of not just like clips reels, but actual episodes of Monty Python's Flying Circus, there was one of those animations of a guy of parodying the televangelist things. It's like, we want you to help you, and his head keeps coming off, and demons keep coming out. And he keeps trying to put the best stuff back in. That I'll try to find a picture, but that is or the segment on YouTube. We'll see, but that's literally what he looks like. It's creepy as fuck.
Ark, this guy reminds me of what would happen if Baron Harkonnen got isekai'd.
Kinda, yeah. There is a certain Harkonnen fullness to him.
I love the gold teeth.
Yeah.
That's the part where
exactly.
I'm just like, wow.
And yeah, Baron Harkonnen's tastes would certainly fit in with stereotypes about churchmen. Yes, let's leave it at that. But yeah.
Well, Bishop Tristan, we meet because he's in the process of excommunicating Marlfist because, turns out she kind of is abusive to people and uses her religious authority for it, and got herself in a bit of hot water here.
Yeah, the point is she got caught and made the church look bad. Not what she was doing, it was the consequences.
Well, Bishop Tristan is voiced... Indeed. Bishop Tristan is voiced by TJ Anthony. That's Sentry, Adam Rockwell, and Shy, and Lowen in Apothecary Diaries.
Yes, it does a fantastic job creeping me the fuck out.
This guy, TJ Anthony, you nailed this. Yes. Holy shit. I hate this man so much, and he's so creepy.
Kill it with fire. Seriously. It's like, ugh.
I hate this guy more than the actual demon that we're going to get into here in a minute.
Seriously.
This guy is just, God.
Demon's got a demon. This guy chose to be evil.
Well, he offers Marlfist a chance to be redeemed and to enhance her rank, and all she's got to do is help him out with a little task of killing the princess. And of course, he gets her cooperation through duress by giving her some wine that has a curse on it, the same curse that the princess had previously, where she can't eat. And if she does eat, gets vomited right back up.
She can't. The only thing she can retain is water. So it's actually evil as fuck, because you'll die of dehydration in about 3 days. You can survive if you're hydrated. You can survive for at least a month without food. Not in any sort of good state, but yeah, it's a bad death.
Oh yeah, no, that's a nasty curse. Anyway, this guy is basically getting her to do this thing, and at first she's like, "Oh, well, it's her life or mine." And you know what? As much as I think Marvel's a piece of shit, still, I can't actually argue with her on that. As much as I'd like to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the bishop picked his instrument well.
He did. Of course, even she starts to go, "Oh, this is fucked." When she realizes that she's being used to empower a summoning soul that brings forth, they say, a demon lord. I'm not sure if this is the lord of all demons, or if that's like a rank, or still too early to really
worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It is a high-powered demon with a very annoying vocal tick.
I love it.
I hate
that.
It makes you want to punch it. It makes me want to give him a forearm shiver so he can spit up whatever he's choking on.
Well, man, the voice actors for these villains are great.
It does a great job with it. It's just the trope that he's executed to perfection, I personally find incredibly annoying.
Oh, of course, this demon lord is voiced by Christian Eros. That's Klops in Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. Oh, that makes me happy to make a reference to that one. And Jade Stratos in Berserk of Gluttony. The Demon Lord is just wow. Meanwhile, Kurt has in fact been brought in on this, as has the party of Sakura, who have been let into. He's the Atelier. He just doesn't know it because he's kind of dumb. But we're trying to protect him.
Because
We're also
they
trying to protect
realize
the princess.
he's amazing, and at some point in here, he actually gets formally assessed, and it turns out that he has.
It's actually Mimiko that does the assessment, and this is
So
right after he gets
like,
back from that rescue.
A 0 rank in combat skills, but like everything else conceivable,
everything else is
rank. So
yeah, he's ridiculous in everything.
And the funny thing is, if he can interpret a fight as a harvesting operation or mining or something like that, he could just murder things. But it's not everything can be like that for some reason.
Yeah, see also the golem
exactly, which is why we mentioned it. So partly this is paying the party off and to keep and to shut up and also to keep an eye on them. But in part, it is quite normal for ateliers like this to have a party of expert adventurers on retainer, and they do need some. They are legitimately useful in a whole variety of ways. So it's a
they actually do help.
Yeah, that's why I said. So it's a perfect confluence. Although at least some of the adventurers are always for a while are quite nervous that they're going to be killed off suddenly or something, but they're not.
Yeah, well, this is where Bandana shows up, tells Danzo, "Hey, this contract guy you got is going to betray you." Danzo quickly makes quick work of that guy. I'm not even going to mention it because he's such a no.
Oh, that was the bad raid they went on with Kurt. Their normal porter set them up, who was sick that day.
Oh,
because
that guy was that was their porter.
He was their normal assistant, their normal porter. He was sick that day, which is why they hired on Kurt. And he was the one who tipped them off to this. When I heard, he's sick, and he tipped them off to this that is killed, that to me spells fuckery.
Well, it clearly was, and Danzo took care of that.
Oh yes, in high style, I must say.
I agree. I would credit the voice actor for that character, but also there's nobody's got that. But he's also kind of a one-bit character. Damn it, Crunchyroll, but I can't be too mad about it.
Speaking role is a fucking speaking role.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather they credit everyone. Absolutely.
No, you have to. It's if you talk, you get you are named in the credit.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I hope you understand that. I'm just like, I wasn't even going to mention this guy too much just because in terms of us, the character's kind of like there and gone. But yes, Crunchyroll, credit your voice actors. Well, we have quite a bit of adventure at Kurt in his new building that he doesn't know is his that he built. Kurt, can this building can we put like things on it to deflect curses? No, I don't think I can do that. So Yulisha goes, all right, well, I'm going to put curse wards up inside the building because we want to protect the princess while she's here. And Kurt sees that and goes, oh, it's graffiti. I need to clean it off. Oh, great. Well, I guess we got enough protection. Well, actually, yeah, about that.
Kurt had already done something to the building structure that already made it 10 times better than what she tried to put up. So Kurt doesn't realize why she's all suspicious and stuff. She makes up something about, what did she call it? Like a random graffiti person?
It's a graffiti artist, the Scrawler.
Oh, God. And so Kurt's on the lookout for them now.
Which plays into things beautifully going forward.
It has to be somebody really messed up to do graffiti. I mean, come on.
Who does
Kurt is such a sweet boy. Kurt is like, I would believe you if you told me Kurt was from Utah. Let's put it that way. So shout out to all the LDS folks out there, because he's that type of like pathologically but genuinely Utah, nice. Right. Well, that's the thing, and I met a lot of LDS folks, and it's more the stereotype of the LDS that are just like almost creepily nice, but it's absolutely sincere. That's Kurt.
Oh yeah, no, and
that stereotype comes from a place. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met.
It does. I've been here for 14 years now, and it's definitely a thing. Anywho, so we have that set up. Of course, we mentioned the Demon Lord a minute ago. He's using the power from Marlfis from her magic to summon demons and monsters to swarm the town, which has to go into defense, and that's where we seriously see General Allraid show up, and also his lieutenant, Generic. I love that name.
Yeah, spelled differently.
It's spelled differently, but his name is Generic. Voiced by Brandon Acosta, that's Sion Ulster in Wistoria Wand and Sword, and Takumi Kuruya, that's the hacker guy in Dead Mount Deathplay. They make this kind of a pact of, we're not going to drink anything great right now, because we're both going to live and drink together later. I love that. That's beautiful. And they rush to the defense.
It's a very romantic. It's a very romantic moment.
Elisha goes on the defensive with everything. There's all this planning going on. Lieselade is asked to stay behind with Kurt to keep him safe, but the party goes on ahead as well. And they determine that the assault is coming from the ruins. So the job then goes to Generic to keep the enemy busy as a decoy, while Allraid, Elisha, and the adventurers of the Sakura party go on to the ruins. And this works really well because they have a bunch of magic rocks from Kurt that basically wholly nuke the whole place.
Right.
If you've ever played the Dungeons and Dragons arcade game, this is like Turn Undead from that game, where everything just goes away instantly.
Speaking of turning undead, it turns out the two walls of the town, the two sides of the town that Kurt rebuilt, any undead that get near the walls just get nuked. So they're able to actually concentrate their relatively small forces on defending only the two sides that he didn't rebuild, and it really it enables them to actually mount a defense.
But yeah, we got this whole operation going on. We got these holy stones, the walls that Kurt made, and the comment to Kurt is like, oh, that is like, oh yeah, isn't that common?
Huh. I mean, why would you want to let undead get near your walls? I mean, come on.
Where I'm from, that's what always happens when the undead swarm the walls.
Yeah, so it's at about this point that a semi-official government policy document is drafted about Kurt, unofficially, of course, and I'll send you a screenshot later.
Of course.
Okay,
okay, we'll put that up there.
I'd say that's a pretty representative of the government position paper on Kurt.
Yes, I think that's very good.
All right.
Nice. Oh,
that's one of my favorite. That's right from my meme bin. It's one of my favorite images. I don't even know what it's from originally. So if you happen,
that looks like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Probably, but I don't really care. I'm pretty sure it's been photoshopped, but yeah.
I mean, clearly. But anyway, yeah, this whole operation goes on. Kurt's magic stones are wiping things out. The Demon Lord's like, oh, we have visitors. I'm going to go greet them myself. Poor Marlfis is just suffering. She knows that she's trying to break. I gotta give her credit. She tries. At this point, she actually wants to break the spell. She wants to try and do something.
She doesn't want to die because she's realized she's been fucked over and she's just here to be used and consumed. So she's paralyzed in the middle of this evil magic circle in the middle of this room in the basement of the dungeon and can't move and certainly can't break the circle.
The Demon Lord goes and meets with both General Allraid and Elisha. I have unlimited HP! Ha 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 ha! You can't beat me!
Which my comment was, fucking hackers.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's connected to that magic circle, as we later find out. Because, yeah, Kurt figures it out. Someone's after Lieselade. And Elisha went to go clean up. It's a Scrawler.
Well, right.
The Scrawler's coming for
and so Lieselade won't sit by safely. She wants to help. And so Kurt agrees to go with her. And Kurt's like, okay, they've got, it's hard to get into from any of the 8 directions. Let's go with the 9th direction. Let's tunnel in. which he does to this deep underground dungeon.
Freaking Kurt!
And they pop up right by this magic circle, which is like well below all the action going on. And Kurt's
Yeah,
like,
it's where Marlphus is.
Marlphus, wait, you must be the scrawler, because she's in the middle of the magic circle.
Well, she's also like, oh, if only I could have Kurt's cooking more
Yeah.
done. Ah, yes, that sounds just like
I'm
him.
hallucinating.
Oh,
I
wait,
must
it
be
is
dying.
him.
I'm hallucinating. Which is a reasonable conclusion,
Oh.
you know?
Oh my god, I love this
See
show
what I
so
mean?
much.
It's
It's
like,
so
because
beautifully
meanwhile,
done.
they're having like the most generic boss fight and back and forth upstairs, and Kurt's just like, nah, I'm just gonna pop in here and just blank everything off. You know.
Well, he is pivotal though. He also made a magic sword that he thinks is useless, but Lisa Latte wants it and uses it. It's got a magic spell that can duplicate her.
She's got a huge crush on Kurt, and I don't blame her one little bit.
I don't either. But the sword also is actually quite useful.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps her quite safe when she goes up to check on the battle.
Yeah, because she just
he was like,
because the demon's bragging about how he's going to kill the princess and so forth, and they're like, "You'll never get past us to her," and she just pops up behind the demon lord, "Hello," and where he upon just puts a spike through her chest and kills her, and everyone's like, "Seriously?"
Oh shit!
Yeah, and then she pipes up. She's like, "That looks like it would have hurt." It was an illusion, and he keeps trying to kill her, and it keeps being illusions, and he starts getting very annoyed.
Well, while that's going on, Kurt goes, "Oh, I got to clean up this graffiti," and he takes out a mop, and Martha's like, "You can't, but this is a magic
He
circle."
literally just mops it up.
He mops up the magic curse, and then he can tell that Marlphus is hungry. Offers him his lunch because he brought along with him
because he's a
couple of rice balls, and she's like, "He's a good boy," and she's like, "Oh, Kurt's cooking. Before I die, yes. Even though I know I'm going to throw it back up, I love Kurt's cooking." She eats it. Oh, I don't feel like throwing this up. Oh, it cured my curse
because of course, yeah.
And she is very confused, but very happy. They go up. She gets herself arrested for obvious reasons. Kurt thinks it's the scrawler. She's the scrawler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't worry, I'll get you food in jail.
Yep.
But she does make a comment that this was the doing of Bishop Tristan, which is noticed and taken note of by
I'm not sure those two guys who hauled her off were legit. I think they were trying to cover.
Oh, they were.
Okay. Well.
They were, because the princess calls them Phantom, which are her private police officers.
Okay.
They're hers.
All right, then. I'm just worried that she's going to get Epsteined, but we'll see. Hope not.
She might, but it'll be the princess is doing if that's the case.
Or I'm thinking the bishop or people from the church might want to cover their tracks.
They might, if they find out about it, but this organization is not the church's.
True enough. All right. Well, we'll see.
Well, we finished this off with Generic and General Allred being basically read into, this is what's going on with Kurt. At a party where Kurt made food, everyone's injuries are healing. There are fireworks that Kurt's made for everyone. Oh, my injuries are healed. Oh, yes, it's common for injuries to heal after a good meal. No, it's not, Kurt.
And everyone's eating with such intensity that Kurt thinks they're just trying to choke it down, and then he asks, and someone actually says, "No, this is so unbelievably good."
Allred.
And he's like, "Oh, thank goodness." So he can take a compliment, but you really kind of have to nail it through his head.
Yeah. That's where we leave off with that. But then there's this comment that the general's like, so is all these different roles. And he's like, "Oh, you're the administrator." And Kurt's like, "Oh, that's why this is such good governance." And he's like, "Nah, I don't really do that. That's this other guy." Mm-hmm. And of course, we have a scene with that other guy meeting this girl who's got magic chains around her? Question mark.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Not sure what's going on there, but that will be probably the focus of the next half of the show, because we're only halfway through all of that, and there's still a half of the show left.
Yeah, this is.
I don't know why this works so well, but it works so well. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's heartfelt where it wants to be. This is just a good show.
Yep. Very, very good writing all around.
Absolutely fantastic writing. I think that's enough about it, at least for now. We may or may not come back to it when it finishes up, but that's episodes 1 through 6 of the Unaware Atelier Meister.
All right.
So, Ark, why don't you tell us about today's not sponsor that we're calling a sponsor?
A shout out.
It's a shout out.
So, this episode of the Simuldub Saints is dedicated to the absolute madhouse that is WBPL 76 over on Twitch. So, WBPL 76 is a shared Twitch account run by the Black Pants Legion. I'm pretty sure it runs 24/7 with all different creators. They have a scheduled lineup of regular programming, and it's styled very much like a traditional TV channel, hence the name. So no matter what time it is, there should be something going on that is usually worth seeing. And their program offerings are, of course, a lot of it is video games of all sorts, but there's also cooking shows, art streams. There's even a lady now who does writing workshops live. Some really cool shit.
Ooh, that is cool.
Yeah, I forget if it's Fridays, Saturdays that she's on. What was her name? Lady Red or something like that. I don't know. They do upload some, but not all of their shows as VODs to a YouTube channel as well. So if you search for WBPL 76 on YouTube, you'll find their VOD channel. They don't stream on YouTube as far as I know. But maybe they do. I am shouting them out because, honestly, I had a very tiring weekend. I had to go outside. It was horrible. And I was just exhausted yesterday, and I'm like, oh, God. What am I going to do for a fake sponsor? I couldn't think of anything. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do something real world that deserves some support. So this occurred to me as a good candidate because there's going to be something there that you may like. And also because these folks together regularly raise a surprising amount of money for various charities and stuff. The most notably would be children's cancer and stuff like that. Most notably, every year around Christmas time, Tex and the guys do they can't really label it as such anymore because YouTube and stuff gets mad, but it's known as meth for kids. Which, to be clear, the meth is not to be consumed by the children. They are cooking and selling the meth in Payday 2 to raise money for children. And so,
funny as hell.
And so a lot of people, myself included, will save up money and donate it all during this big Meth for Kids stream every year, and it's an institution now. So, yeah.
Oh my God!
All right. So fair warning: whenever I can't come up with a fictional business, there will be more of these shout outs to real world creators who I think need the shout out and are not political or geopolitical or anything like that. I'm very open to ideas for fictional sponsorships, fictional entities and businesses that are funny, or even just, not funny, fun things from a fandom you like. Let me know in the comments or on social media who you think might want to give us money to shill for their horrible fictional company. Again, fictional stuff only, or, whatever. But yeah.
Okay. Well, shout out to the Black Pants Legion. We have made several references to them throughout the podcast history, especially early on.
They're not the only creators I like. They just keep coming up because we're kind of doing this.
Even I've done it. I will reference Discount Dan at a heartbeat.
Right. They keep coming up for me because my dedication to this was very much inspired by Texas thing of just, whatever you do, just go do it and don't give a shit about money. Just have fun. So that's what we're doing.
And that's why we do this.
Yep.
Although we really appreciate all you listeners out there. I've definitely seen we've had some channel growth lately. A lot of that I think is due to the shorts we've been putting out because they definitely seem to make a difference. Cool. But I appreciate all y'all coming out to listen to us crazy people talk about anime for about an hour.
All right.
Well, I suppose it's time to ask the question. Ark, where can the people find you?
So, aside from outside, I've actually been replaying a lot of V Rising, of course, but also Planet Crafter lately, getting ducks in a row for their new free update. Because unlike V Rising, they don't zero out parts of the map and make you restart when they put out an update. They're very clever about adding new elements to the map, and so apparently they're going to be adding soon 2 more. So they had the second planet that's like an alternate game mode, but they're going to be adding 2 more planets nearby. The first planet that you can actually, in the same game, move between them and share resources and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be a free update. So yeah, indie gaming is where it's at.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
AAA has gone to hell. Even Nintendo is failing now, which makes me very sad, but it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, chaos corrupts everyone in time. So
the problem with Nintendo is success. If they're successful for long enough, they get shitty.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was the Japanese who coined the term victory disease, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's true for Sony as well. Nintendo and Sony both, if they're in charge for too long,
well, anybody, you'd see the same amount of Xbox if they could ever win for long.
Well, I say too long if it's more than a generation.
Right. But I like I said, I think Spectre and Xbox would be the same way if they could actually have a winning streak for long enough.
Well, Microsoft seems to have learned the lesson of we don't have to win the console war if we win the game war, because they're just absolutely
the point is the whole top end of the industry, with a few exceptions, are just it's at least in my humble opinion not worth your time, folks. So there's much better.
But the only company that's AAA that I still like is Capcom.
Yeah, I would also nominate Warhorse Studios when they're not being pushed around by their publisher. There's a few other good things. I mean, I still like the way I like the way Paradox tries to do things with their first-party titles. Their actual success rate is hit and miss, but I like the model. So it's not completely without hope, but yeah, they like your big CODs and stuff like that. Fuck it.
Yeah,
like everyone's your GTA 6. I don't know. I just I did play GTA 5. I enjoyed the single player. I have no interest in GTA 6. I don't know why, but I just have no faith that it will, that the single player will have anywhere near the necessary amount of care and time put into it. Plus the ridiculous price point they're going to launch it at. Fuck that.
Yeah, I enjoyed GTA 5 online, but I'm not going to buy 6.
That's kind of what ruined it, ironically enough. But yeah, I wanted to like 5 online with you guys, but their fucking netcode wouldn't let me. It would disconnect me every 5 minutes, and when it did, the whole mission.
I don't know why I hated you.
Yeah, I don't know, but fuck it,
Like, I didn't have that problem, and most of the other people didn't have. It just hated you specifically. I don't know why.
Well, the feeling's now mutual.
Indeed. I mean, fuck Rockstar anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, I guess that's where we'll find you.
Yep, I'll be around.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at LaserKidPrime. You can find me on Blue Sky at LaserKid when I remember I have a Blue Sky. And you can find me over on the Toonami Faithful podcast with friends of the podcast Sketch and Kuro and many others. Always got to shout them out. I wouldn't be here without Toonami Faithful, and a lot of how I do this podcast came from them, although I've certainly adapted my own way as I've gone along, but that's kind of where I got a lot of the experience I have. So if you like anime, you definitely check out Toonami Faithful. We talk about Toonami and the anime that's on there. Notably, we're currently talking about Lazarus, which is a Toonami original, and also, although it's now concluded, Common Side Effects. So the drugs have taken over Toonami. As for the Simuldub Saints, you can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Simuldub Saints, and we have a Facebook group you can check into. I tend to post there whenever episodes come out. If there's a major delay that I know about, I'll usually warn you guys. And just try and keep up with everybody. I also like to send out previews going, hey, look what's coming. So, yeah. That about does it for this week's episode of Simuldub Saints. So until next time, catch you later.
散らかった情報と雑誌作り出す自分スタイル素材を